Welcome, everybody, to Empower AI Agents, Unleash Real AI, Real Impact, Smarter Business. And I have one of my networking buddies with me today. We do not a lot of online networking, which is brilliant. So we know one another reasonably well. Welcome, Penny.
Thank you, Wendy. I'm delighted to be here.
We're going to talk about Penny's AI agent that she's created. I think, Penny, you have a number of them.
Yes, the first one I've got, which is a new creation, and it's in the planning stage at the moment. So I am feeding my agent with lots and lots of information. And what it is a framework to create an operations manual, because there are still people who rely on text-heavy operations manuals. And I now have a way to help them get their manuals done.
That's brilliant. And an operations manual is quite complicated. It's normally quite big, takes a long time to bring together.
I think, yes, I mean, typically, if you're talking about multinational, it can take a year to create it with a team of people from head office. But we've now got a different way in which we use much more visual content, because we find that with younger team members, they're the YouTube, Instagram, TikTok generation, and they like peer-to-peer engagement, so they learn from their peers. And it's not a top-down process that they really enjoy. They also don't do a lot of reading. They just prefer videos. I must say that I'm fairly similar, because these days, if I want to change the light bulb in the oven, I'll go straight to YouTube and find out the best way to extract it and put a new one in without keeping my head in the oven too long. Um, yeah, I know. Yes, sort of nice visual image there, but there are still many people who rely on text, and therefore we have to cater for all learning styles and abilities. And I just felt that perhaps creating an agent that will simplify the process would assist so many people, particularly when there's not a lot of money. You know, you're running a business, life is tough, and being able to circumnavigate the huge cost involved, particularly when you've only got one or two staff to begin with, would be a practical thing to do.
And I know you're an early adopter because when I started talking about agents, you already had one. I was very impressed. I was like, "Whoa, someone's beating me to it. What's going on?" So you're an early adopter.
Well, I'm afraid the other side of my little brain is techie. I love tech, and anybody who sees my office, or even the house, knows that there's tech everywhere. I was back in the 70s. I was working with my American publisher, and I came back from Germany to England, living in London, and they said, "We've bought a computer." I said, "Well, oh, that sounds interesting. Better come and have a look at it." They say it's absolutely fantastic. So I went over to Clerkenwell, and lo and behold, for £2,500 back in 1982, there was this huge screen.
Brick, wasn't it? It was a brick.
It was a absolute brick, and it had a printer and a scanner. And I thought, "Do you know, I've just got £2,250 left. from moving from Germany, I'm going to turn in absolutely perfect copy to my publishers. And so I bought my first system, and it had a brain the size of less than a gnat. I think it had, was it something like 68 kilobytes? So it didn't retain anything. So you had to run off anything that you'd created at the time without turning it off.
It's just crazy, isn't it? How things have,
And I,
especially in the last couple of years, have just like exploded.
absolutely. I mean, 2,500 or £2,250 buys you the top of almost the top of the range iMac,
Yeah,
which I have.
yeah.
I thought about it last June when mine died. My lovely huge iMac died. It was my first Mac, and I didn't want to get rid of it, but it fell over so many times that I really had to do something. So I bought this wonderful one with a lovely pale green surround, and
Wow.
it coordinates with my office. It's just wonderful, and I love it. I love it to bits. So, yes, that was my first bit of tech, and the iMac is I suppose, as up to date as I can get at the moment, because you're never up to date, really, are you? There's
Mm.
always something new
There's
that's
always,
coming in.
yeah, especially now, especially with the new laptops that are coming out with the new chips. It's just like
Yes,
it's,
yes, and
yeah.
yes, and
And
of course the iPhone 16 has got it's got AI integrated.
oh,
So
it,
so I'm in seventh heaven.
yeah.
Um, when ChatGPT became available, I was I couldn't adopt quickly enough to explore it, and I was going down so many rabbit holes. My husband said, "You will disappear into your computer if you."
So you've got journalism backgrounds, you love
Yes,
processes, you love tech. So it really is a match made in heaven, isn't it? Because you just,
oh, it is because I can contextualize everything I do and ask the right questions and hopefully get the right answers. To me, it is just a wondrous landscape of interesting things to seek out and perfect and get get to something that will really help a lot of people.
what would you say have been the main benefits for your clients working this way?
I think the main benefit is doing things faster, more efficiently, but with personalization. Um, I think you need to use AI ethically, particularly when you're crafting content. You obviously have to check it to make sure that it's not hallucinating,
Doing
which,
a lot of that at the moment,
yes,
hallucinating. It's driving me
yes.
nuts. My clients keep saying, "Oh, Lucas has told me that he's going to go and doing this, go and do this." I'm saying, "Look, it can't do it. It's just hallucinating. It's just not possible. Not right. I think it's coming. I think actually it's
Yes,
coming, but I, yeah." We were talking about this before we came on. I think the people who have got the £200 version, they are able to create agents that can go off and do tasks. They can book. You don't hear about it now, actually. They can book restaurants. They can do your shopping for you. And I think that's going on in the paid version. And I think it's trickling down into, I mean, we still have the paid version, but obviously not on the same scale. I think it's trickling down through the system. There's no gatekeeping to close it off. Because it's only been doing it the last couple of months. It's not been doing it for long.
No, I think the philosophy is open AI being open to all. Um, I'm just hoping that the £200 version will trickle to the £20 or the $20 version, because I decided that I have the paid version right up at the beginning, and really that served me very, very well. It's money very well
Oh
spent.
yeah, I mean, it's crazy money. I mean, I have clients that save themselves £1,000 a week on outsourcing costs alone. You know, copywriting, just all
Yeah,
sorts of things.
yeah. I mean, I will write an article, I will feed it through, um, and ask it to critique what I've done, see if I can improve it. I mean, only the other day, I think it was on Monday, I'd written a 13-page proposal, but I just wanted a second opinion. And the suggestions, there were three suggestions on paragraphs to make them clearer because I wanted this to be crystal clear and not too cluttered with information.
Yeah, yeah,
It came back and it said, it would be better if you did this. This is your original. This is what we, what I think you should be doing. And it was the difference that made the difference.
yeah. And it's just normally little, it's not normally something that's significantly different, is it? It's just normally like a tweak, a change in language, just a slight positioning of something. It's not crazy.
Absolutely. I mean, with this, it stripped it down to clarify it.
Mm.
And I was aware that perhaps it was too wordy and that I did not want it to be confusing. So the context was that it was a proposal that needed to be clear, not confusing, and be absolutely pertinent.
Yeah,
Um, and that worked really, really well. Well, at least I'll tell you whether it worked very well, whether I get the contract.
fingers crossed. Yeah.
Watch this space. But for that kind of thing, that is really good. Other things, um, very good for blank page syndrome.
Mm.
Really good. You got an idea, you map it out, you give it the context, and lo and behold, you've got something that now I've of course fed my voice, my tone, and my writing style into it. So it has, and it's got all the long-term memory.
Yeah.
It performs beautifully.
I've noticed with this upgrade in memory, it's remembering things from like months ago. I'm like, I did that months ago. I found that. I'm like, hang on a minute. Already done this. I ticked this off a long time ago, but all of a sudden it's piecing old things together. So there's definitely been a big upgrade, I think, in the last couple of weeks, which is just starting to play out, I think. Um,
Yes, yes. I asked a colleague of mine to do a little fun exercise and ask ChatGPT how to describe her and what she did, and she was blown away by it.
wow. Yeah.
But it's a fun little exercise
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it scrapes all sorts of information and what you fed it over. I mean, I've now got how many years? 3 years of stuff in it.
I um I accidentally clicked the button in the back end which says wipe everything, and
Oh no.
I I got rid of everything. Got rid of everything by
Oh no.
mistake. But I'm one of these people that when I'm using it, I'll because there's just so much content. It's like too much. So I will name it and archive it if it's really important, and anything else I just delete. I just get rid of it because it's just too much for my dyslexic brain to see all of the tabs. It just cannot cope. It can't cope with that level of overwhelm. So I either delete everything, actually stick it in a project, or
Yes.
um, projects are really handy for saving information, or I just archive it because I'm hoping that with the archive, with the memory as it develops, it's gonna it's gonna read what's in the archive, and then it's gonna make the experience even better. It's not doing that now, I don't think. I don't think it is, but it might do at some point, which is why I only archive really important stuff.
Yeah. I think that's a very good way of doing it. Because I've been so busy, I haven't categorized it in the way that would make more sense.
Yeah,
I know I can do it with a
yeah,
little add-on um, in um, uh, in Google. So
yeah.
um, yes, a little extension is very useful. But I'm really impressed. I mean, it's to me, it's a greater advancement than the word processor was to the typewriter.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's the fact that it can answer back is um is just mind blowing, and it's got more and more empathetic. It's got more. It feels more. It's a bit over the top, so it's not quite
Yes,
there, but it
it
definitely
did.
feels more human
It did
in
wish
its
me night night
language.
last night. I said I've had enough. I'm going to bed. He said night night. Sleep well. It'll be here for you in the morning. Well, it wasn't. Never mind.
Oh, funny, that is funny.
And I know people give uh, give it names.
Oh, mine have all got names.
And they've all got names,
Oh
have they?
yeah, yeah, they've got two names actually. So they've got a human name. So I have a human name, a little emoji that represents whatever the agent is, and then I have an agent name, which is like two words squashed together that my CEO is called uh, uh, Lucas CEO 360. So 360. So he has Lucas, Brain, and then the agent name. So yeah, they've all got names. And I even refer to them as male and female.
Well, that's rather cute.
Well,
I think if I started talking to Lucas and my husband came in, he would say, "Which boyfriend is that?" Because he hasn't got a clue about AI, not a single clue how it can work for him.
one thing I've
Because he
sorry, Penny, sorry. You were
no,
saying about
all
your
I was going
husband.
to say,
You were saying about your husband, yeah.
yes, all I was saying was um, he's taken time to learn how his tablet works, his phone works, but that's as far as he goes. So anything else is a foreign territory.
One thing I've realized in the last week is that and it's why they have them met while I refer to them as male and female. There is definitely a different energy, a different tone of voice, a different personality with each agent that I create.
Hmm.
So I don't know if you've noticed. Um, so ChatGPT has released something called Monday. I noticed it this morning in my sidebar, and
Hmm.
it's an agent that they've created, which has its own unique personality. So you'll probably find it in your sidebar when you go into ChatGPT. And I
Mm.
started using it and I hated it. I was like, I just can't be doing with this personality at all. It's like, so I got rid of it out of my sidebar. I lasted all of about 10 minutes. Just didn't like it. Yeah. But it made me realize that the agents my clients are using them love using them because I'm infused in that agent. So my personality, how I think, how I experience things, what I create is actually infused in the AI more than I think we realize. Because, you have your methodology, you have your tone of voice, you shape it. Yeah, I've sort of like realized this over the last week, that it's quite profound
Hmm.
how they
That
mirror us.
hmm. That's very interesting because I have given ChatGPT a very, very detailed um, context of my writing style, and it's analyzed to the nth degree, and therefore it does come back as being me rather than anybody else.
Yeah. So it's infused with you. It's because when you create it, you don't realize how infused it is with you, your personality, your beliefs, what you stand for, what you want the business to stand for, the level of work you want people to engage with. That's the magic bit, I think, is that bit. Um, it's why I get slightly agitated when people refer to agents as bots. I'm like, it's not a bot, not a bot.
Personality.
It's got yeah, it has now even more so. One of the things I do for my clients is I do with Lucas, one of the other agents. Yes, Lucas is very much male. I do a emotional intelligence. You might have done this, I'm not sure. An emotional intelligent assessment of the person that I'm working with. And then I use that to put into their agent to shape it around their personality, around what
That's
it's saying
brilliant.
about them. That works really well.
Yes, that's brilliant. It's not something that I've needed to consider, but it's something I definitely will consider.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I probably won't get too much information to be able to do it, but it's a great idea, really great idea. The other one that I have, I've got my operations manual.
Oh yes, let's go
What
over.
what is it? What is the operations manual? What does it do? How do you create it? And that's all based on my book Manual Magic.
Mm.
Um, so if you go into my tools and resources from the QR code in the book, you can ask my wizard um, anything about an operations manual and it should tell you.
Oh
It's the
wow,
most,
that's brilliant.
it's the most popular feature of the resource library.
Wow, that's brilliant. So it acts as a customer service, knowledge bank, knowledge base. That's
Yes,
I love that. I re Again, that's infused with your personality again. You know, uh, what you know to be true, your expertise, your wisdom. It gives that extra layer of like stickiness. So one of my
yes.
agents is called Wendy. Wendy? She's a business coach, strangely enough. So my theory was whenever people use Wendy, they'll be thinking, oh, Wendy, me, of course. So I created one as a business coach. Um, but everyone just loves Lucas. So most people actually spend their time with Lucas, the CEO, rather than the business coach. They're absolutely potty about him.
Does that mean that you have predominantly female clients?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, no wonder they like Lucas.
I've got two male clients. I don't know what their favorites are actually. Lucas is the most popular agent CEO. Um, I mean, I've got another agent called Alex that writes chapters in a book. I've I've got one client like I wish he was human. I wish he was real. Yeah. It's I'm
That makes me think that perhaps um, for people who are looking for their ideal man or woman, you could somehow create your GPT version.
oh yeah. I mean there's so much the potential is limitless. It really is limitless. And what I'm finding is that I say to my clients, you don't use it as a tool. We don't think of AI as a tool. You use it as a partnership, as a relationship, as a sounding board, as a mirror, and you put the good and the bad in it. So it's not just about I've got to write this newsletter. Um, let's just bang it out. It's more about how they're feeling, what their level of energy is, if they've had a difficult relationship with a client, if they just won a client. They just put everything in there. And then they do a little end of week assessment report at the end of the week. And then it tells them, you know, what's actually going on psychologically and also for the business. And that has just been life changing. Just just absolutely profound on so many different levels and people having their own unique experiences. So it's not all the same stuff, it's not all the same conversations. They're all like, um, I got a message earlier on from a client, and she's just like, I'm because she's using two of them. She's using one I've just created called Helen. You know Helen. So
Mhm.
we've created one that is focusing on resolving decision fatigue. So it was created around Helen. So she's
Hmm.
using Helen and Lucas together. So Lucas CEO, and then she brings Helen in for a conversation. They talk together pretty much. And then she can see where her patterns are, where the blind spots are. It's just, and she's just like, she left a message earlier on. She was almost in tears because she's seen things that she has never seen before, which is ultimately what I think it was created for.
Yes, I think when it helps you understand where the gaps are and how you can adapt, that is a true fundamental change,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
because
absolutely.
many of us are solopreneurs. We're on our own with nobody
Mm.
really as a sounding board. And now we've got a sounding board.
And a really intelligent one as well.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like Lucas, Lucas told me quite a few months ago, I think it must have been about 3 months ago. It said, Wendy, you are the bottleneck in your business. I was like, what? What do you mean? Most people would be like, it would really knock them. But I was just thinking, oh my God, so if you can see that, you can tell me how to get out of it, which is
Mm.
what you wouldn't normally have. You wouldn't normally have. And so quickly, the dynamic of someone actually seeing that and feeding it back to you, but also how to get out of your own way and to resolve the bottleneck. That's just nuts. I think that's
Yeah,
nuts.
it is. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we'll find more and more um, instances. I know that somewhere I've got an agent that is a coach, um, a leadership coach, so on and so forth. I haven't even started to scratch the surface of it.
Oh, brilliant.
Um, but it's always a time problem, isn't it? Um, I am to be seen even when I'm watching a film, thinking, "Oh, I just need to do this or find out about that." And luckily, Stephen is pretty much the same, but on a completely different level. Um, so it really once you've grasped the essentials of it, and I know I've got a long, long way to go. I'm nowhere near as proficient with it as you are. Um, I think it's just going to open up so much for so many people if they take the time to learn it.
Yeah. I apart from the $20, which is nothing, obviously, it's a lot if you haven't got it. Um, it's just that level of playing field of education and learning. It's just completely flattened, and that's what I love. Is we all have access to it. So let's have a look at your agent. I'm just going to flip the screen over. So you're in the process of creating the new agent. So what does this one do?
This agent helps people to create their operations manual
Wow.
from their intellectual property. Obviously, like every other LLM, it has to be um, you have to take ownership of the content and you have to make sure that it's not hallucinating and it matches your business. But it has learnt from two tests how I want the categories. There are 6 categories in a basic operations manual. The first one is the introduction to the business, where you have your mission, vision, values, so on and so forth. And then you start setting up, and if you want to set up a new business, this is specifically for franchising, because that's my specialization. I've been doing it for about 35 years. But um, you can then move on to developing a team and all the things that you need to know when you're employing one or more people. Then your marketing and promotion, which is the one that I have here. And this is taken from a contract, all the basics that need to be explained under marketing and promotion. If you find anything else, you just ask ChatGPT to add it in for you and it will appear. So you can continue to refine the structure
Hmm.
of your potential manual, because structure is everything, not only with creating something like this, but an operations manual, a book, um, even your copywriting, you have a structure to it. So we start by defining what the structure is in these 6 categories. And then under that, we look at from all the intellectual property, what the sections are that need to be created. And we start to populate those sections with information from intellectual property. And most of us, we don't realize what we have. We have so much intellectual property from LinkedIn blogs to copywriting, newsletters, even our website has a wealth of um, copy that can be used to plug the gaps in this structure. So you continue to refine and refine with the help of ChatGPT until you have something that will enable somebody to run the business if you go long-term sick.
This is
Because
amazing.
that's always the danger
Yeah.
with being a solopreneur or employing just one person. That if you're ill. For example, when I had COVID in 2022, I ended up in hospital. I had long COVID for 8 months. I looked at the screen and I could not make sense of what I was writing for my book. I got panic stricken. I missed every single deadline, and I've never missed a deadline in my life before that. Luckily, my publishers were wonderful, very supportive, and I found something that got me back on track. And um, that actually coincided with the availability of ChatGPT in October 2022, if I'm right. I think that's right. Um, so um, if you go, if for any reason, let's say you had an accident, you um, couldn't use your right hand for, I don't know, 6 weeks, somebody could come in and look through all the procedures, the standard operating procedures, and understand what to do without too much help from you.
Penny,
So,
do you help? So you've got your GPT, which has got the process and the formula in it that clients can follow. Do you help them to create their own GPTs? How does it
I
work?
don't, I don't, but they could do. There's nothing to say that I couldn't provide them with all the information that would allow them to do that. And ultimately, what I want to do is to have a web-based app and a mobile app that will allow. I have been tinkering. I think that's probably the right adjective or verb. Tinkering around the edges of creating an app with a no-code application.
Yeah,
So I've been working in StackBlitz with bolts.new, and I've got pretty far on with that. I've got the database connected, and I now need to get the database um, in a way that it will put a proper table together
right.
so that anyone can take it, upload their intellectual property, get with a few commands, press a button and get the basics, and then start populating the structure.
Brilliant. So is it a case of consultation in terms of the monetization side of it? How does it work?
Yes, yes. In fact, I'm going to be speaking to somebody um, I know very well who has got great experience of this, and together we're going to hopefully we're going to bring this out in the not too distant future. I was going to do another edition of Manual Magic because the current one is specifically for franchising. And a lot of people don't make the connection between franchising and other business formats. So I thought that to bring out a new edition would be a great idea. And then I moved on to the app. And I thought, no, I think the app comes first
Yeah,
because that can be more freely available and easier to, I mean, you're actually going through the process with an app, whereas a book, it's theory.
yeah,
So the app is practical
yeah.
practice, and the book is all theory. Even if you do an audio book, it's theory.
Yeah.
So I might scale down the book just to be basically instructions
Yeah.
on
Like a
how to use.
playbook. Yeah. Like a
Yes,
playbook. Yeah. That would work
yes.
really well. That would work really well. I could see that
So
working well.
all these ideas.
I know all these ideas, but also, I mean, because I know that you only work with a couple of clients a year because they're quite big organizations, but this would open it up to so many other businesses if you wanted to
Yes,
take it that way. Of
yes,
course, you might not
yes,
want to.
yes. That's the idea behind it,
Yeah,
because there is a very widespread from the startup to the multinational, and the startup can't afford it. They can't afford to pay multinational prices.
yeah,
So I think this is the way that we bridge the gap.
yeah, yeah. It's. I think the lovely thing about this is once you've created it, is that there are so many possibilities from that content. It just once you've got your manual, and if you've got it into a system, an agent maybe, that you can just ask it a question, it can churn it out, it can write articles. It's just
Yes,
that it's just limitless. It's just you can have so many assets that spin off from that.
absolutely. I mean, you can do your social media from it.
Yeah, and
You can do articles, you can do courses.
it's
Um,
it's
and
bonkers.
yeah, it is.
It's
I've produced a course.
yeah,
I haven't implemented it yet, but from my book, because it's a how-to book,
mm,
it's easy to produce a course. But with this SOP framework builder,
mm,
uh, you've got four main things. You've got build a full SOP, Standard Operating Procedure framework, for
yeah,
my franchise model.
yeah.
Generate the table of comments. Sorry, generate the table of contents for my business playbook. Create a detailed SOP under any main category, and integrate this IP into the relevant SOP category.
Wow,
Uh,
extensive. Each an asset.
yeah, I'm just so I'm so excited about it,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
can
lovely
imagine.
to chat to you about it.
I can imagine because we just know what's possible. I have a client who I created an agent for not so long ago. She works in a school and she has to write a lot of school health and safety policies, which are,
Hmm.
really dry, really boring. But we've
Yeah,
we've uploaded all the policies in the background so she can write it easier. But for me, what I love out of all of that is that she can write it in the tone of voice for the pupils, for the teachers, for the parents,
yes.
for the
Uh,
board.
yep.
It's like,
So yeah, ask my wizard. You can have something explained like a 5-year-old,
yeah, yeah.
um, or or, um, or a graduate or a professor.
How how do you see AI going? Because I know there's a lot of people worried about losing their jobs. I think some people will absolutely lose their jobs. Um,
I think it's a very simple equation. If you don't use AI, you are in danger of being left behind and losing your job. If you know how to use AI to the benefit of what you do and you use it ethically, then I think there's every probability that your job is secure. I think it's
it's
I think it's getting over this worry that AI can do harm. It can do harm in the wrong hands. It
Yeah,
can do
people using
immense.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the people, it's like anything, isn't it?
Yes.
People using
Yes.
it.
Yes. I mean, do you remember the days when you couldn't take a calculator to school? It was confiscated. You
Really?
weren't allowed. Yeah, oh God. Yeah, yeah, it was um it's like AI. The early days, you couldn't take a calculator. Now you're not supposed to do anything with AI that will help you to write an essay or tutorial at school. But very soon we're going to move into a completely new realm, if we haven't already in some
Feels like it's a
sectors.
bit slow. It feels like it's a bit slow for me. I'm like, hurry up. Just
Yes,
hurry up. People
yes,
catch on.
yes.
Because, we both do a lot of networking. And in Circle, everyone knows about it because we've been talking about it for the last 6 months. So people are pretty tuned. But when I speak at another networking event, there'll just be one person in the room that's heard of ChatGPT. And I'm just like, wow,
Where have you been?
wow.
Yes.
Yeah. That's quite common though. It's quite common. It's like, um, what was I thinking? So what I was thinking was, is I see, how do I see it going? I sort of see it as you having like your own, like we have our own team of expert helpers, our own team of agents that can help us to perform better. They can help us to, you know, for a fancy word, peak performance, help us to perform better, help us to do a better job. And I think you'll have people that have like their little teams of agents that they'll be using to do better tasks. And
I, yes.
that will have an effect on outsourcing for sure,
Yeah.
because it's already started. And a few staff might go, I think.
I think it can also go in the opposite direction because if you're a solopreneur and you don't have the money to employ a team, so you've got your team of agents, as your business grows, you can employ somebody who uses the agent to get to another level.
I agree completely. And you would,
Uh,
I think, so when you're growing, there are people you would like to hire, but you wouldn't hire anyway. But I think because you grow much quicker, you hire different people at a different level.
so in fact, AI helps you to grow exponentially.
Yeah,
So not only can you work faster and more efficiently, you can also grow faster
yeah,
and more, the foundation is more solid. And you
yeah.
don't have all the distractions because it's once you know how, like everything else becomes more simple.
I I've got a piggy bank. I'm saving for one of Elon Musk's robots. Can you imagine? I'm having one. I'm having one. It's going to do everything. I'll still work. You watch. I'll still be working, but I just won't be I will be doing the leadership bit and not the all the stuff that I do being a one person business owner that I just get so fed up with doing. But it has to be done because
Well,
that's part of the game.
yes, absolutely. I mean, I'll give you another great example. When I wrote Manual Magic, I wrote it in the traditional way with a hybrid publisher, Rethink Press. And it obviously nobody should edit their own book, it's always an accepted practice that somebody from the outside edits, even though I have hundreds of years of editing experience. And that was an extremely valuable process. But the most important was to get the structure right for the target audience. And whilst I've done hundreds of structures of operations manuals, structuring a book is different. Now, they had a little software program which used colored, it's like colored post-it notes. And last year, they introduced an app called Bookmagic AI. Bookmagic AI enables you to put in all the important information, structure the book. You can either type in or you can record all the information you want under the chapters. And at the end, you can use that to create all the social media posts, newsletters, all sorts of things. It is amazing. And I was a beta tester last year.
Is that Daniel
So
Priestley by any chance?
I'm afraid it is. It's
Yeah.
Daniel and
Oh,
it's
I know.
Lucy. It's Daniel, Lucy, and Joe.
Oh, Daniel's
Um,
great. I mean, I love his stuff.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
fantastic. He's one of my favorites, actually, Daniel Priestley.
yes.
Talks a lot of sense.
He does, and I attend any webinar going because I always learn something, and it was because of Daniel, and I said this to him when I met him in no was it October last year. I said because of you I became a published author, and it's because of you,
Nice.
the book that you
Yeah,
write
nice.
changes your life, and it changed mine.
Yeah. What I like about him, he's a grafter. He
Yeah.
started young, he grafted hard, he understood it, worked his way up. It's funny, I saw an interview, I don't know if you've seen it. Uh, the chap who does the CEO podcast.
Oh,
You're gonna have
Stephen
you seen
Bartlett.
it? Have you? Yeah,
Stephen
yeah.
Bartlett. Yeah,
Have you seen it?
yeah,
It.
yes, yeah.
Gosh, yeah. I
And
can't. Yeah, great
and
interview.
and Daniel was so
Oh,
um so happy to to be on both the editions.
yeah,
Uh, and it was really nice to be able to meet him and say, thank you, Daniel. It's because of
yeah,
you that I've done what I've done.
yeah.
And
Nice.
I mean, I, I don't mean this to sound boastful because it's not that, but he promotes key person of influence.
Yeah,
That's what I've um, I've striven, yes, I think that's the word, to do in my space by
yeah,
reimagining the text-heavy operations manual as a knowledge-sharing environment in which everybody can learn and grow. So it's not about text, it's not about dull manuals, it's about creating an ecosystem for learning, growing, and participation by teams, because everything is top down for large organizations. Well, let's say you've got a franchise of about 40. They're surviving with 800-page text-heavy manuals. And the average profile of, let's say, a particular um, potential client was under 40, with the teams being around 29. And
wow.
they just would not read it. And I
Yeah,
said, you can do it. I'm not going to do it because I know you won't get a return on your investment.
yeah,
So I'm working with a dynamic knowledge sharing platform to enable clients to upload bite-sized video snippets to make a procedure which can be captioned, and the caption can instantly be turned into any language.
Yeah, brilliant.
So it caters for all learning styles, ability. You can hear it, you can see it, and you can read it.
Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant. I mean, no one wants to read a heavy manual of 800 pages, do they? Let's face it. And it's not going to
No,
stick. That's the worst thing. It's just not going to, just not going to stick.
no, because people don't take in
Yeah.
that amount of information. And the whole premise of a franchise is that the successful system is replicated throughout the network. Now, Costa Coffee, when I worked with them to produce, I don't know, it was something like 7 volumes, 6 or 7 volumes, um, for about 2,000 franchisees in those days. It's not possible to find trainers that are all at the same level.
Mm.
Sometimes the franchise manager will delegate to a deputy. So you can't have um, the same degree of expertise. But with video, you have a single source of truth,
Yeah.
which goes everywhere. Now Costa is about 4,000 strong, but video is the only way that you will faithfully replicate the system.
Wow, that's interesting.
And the
It's
global work, yeah, I mean the global workforce. I think the statistic is very soon 30% of the global workforce will be under 30.
wow. Gosh, that's a bit
And
of a gap.
they're yeah, and they're all the YouTube, TikTok, Instagram
Oh, it's
generation.
going to be a nightmare. I hope I'm not
And
around
then,
because that's going to be awful. It's going
well,
to be
then
terrible.
we've got, yeah, and very soon we'll have Generation Alpha. And they were basically born with a tablet in their hands.
Wow,
So
that's
they're
crazy.
digital native.
It's just crazy. The thing that concerns me is that the lack of um downloading of information. You know, the what we've learned, it won't get probably is going to be less likely to get passed on, and it's just going to be lost, and everyone's going to be back to the ground one again.
Yes, I mean, I think one of the problems is the lack of curiosity.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
It's all
what
the
really can.
flicking. That's all the flicking.
Yes,
That's all the
yes,
next. I mean, I do it. I have to stop myself. You know, I will be there on my phone in shorts going, just like, it's just crazy.
I know, I know.
Just,
If somebody had told me when I was 16 that I would be using an iPhone, an iMac, and an iWatch, Um, it what would those be? Oh, and AirPods and all the rest, you know. Why do you have a digital watch? Well, actually, I am never where my phone is. And
it's
you know what
connected.
it's like? You run to get the phone
It's
and
gone.
it rings,
It's gone.
it's gone. So, all these little conveniences that weave their way into your life. Um, and I think, yes, it's wonderful to be connected. Before the pandemic, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Sorry, I'm just pulling a bug out my hair. You wonder what I'm doing? There's a bug that's just landed in my head. Yeah, the
Oh,
pandemic changed things, didn't it? It really, really did change things.
it-
Penny,
I, I,
what what would you say to people who are still sitting on the fence, who are still really cynical about using not just ChatGPT or agents, but the new level of wave of technology that is coming in?
I would say don't dismiss it, try it. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But the chances are it could change the way you work, it could change your fortunes, and it could change your life for the better.
Mm.
Just keep an open mind.
Yeah,
Open eye, open mind.
yeah. A lot of it is the just the fear of the unknown, isn't it? Like most things, we fear
Yes.
what we don't, we fear what we don't know. I my thing is the same as just try it. Um, for me in business, it's about if you truly want to be customer centric, you can't not use it because it meets the person who you're communicating with completely on their level. The
Yeah.
language, how you can approach them. Uh, yeah, I've never had access to that before, and I'm not the best at well, being dyslexic. I'm terrible at communication. But AI is ChatGPT has completely changed the game for me. So I think if you really want a customer centric business, then it's a must.
And I think from our point of view, um, in basic terms, we serve.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then up to us to use the best tools we can find to do the best job we can deliver.
It's a great note to finish on. Thank you very much for that. I was going to say that's a great final note. Then I was just about to say, is there anything else you would like to? Oh, how can people find you? What am I on about? How can people find your book?
Oh,
How can people find you? Forgot
right,
the
they
most
can do
important bit.
it.
Sorry, Penny. Sorry. I was
Oh, don't
just,
worry at
just,
all.
yeah.
They can do it really easily because I've got everything under one website, which is www.linktree, and there is linktr.ee/ Penny Hopkinson.
Fabulous.
And everything is there. There's a link to the book. There's actually even a link to doing a review of the book.
Ooh,
Um,
very
ah,
helpful.
um, it's also got a link to LinkedIn, my main website, which is Manual Writers. It's there. I've got my author website there. I've got all my podcasts. So
And how many
just
are there?
go
Come on,
there.
spill the
I
beans.
don't, I
Penny's a
don't, I
prolific
don't.
podcaster.
They're not all there, but I did about 25 last year,
Wow.
and I was aiming for 40 this year, but I think I'm halfway there already.
Yep.
Uh,
Well done.
and um, anywhere I can just spread it's not about gaining clients, it's about spreading the word that new technology will enable you to reach your I mean, particularly if you're a franchise or have a network, will reach them quicker, better, and more effectively.
Brilliant. And also what I love about that is it also deals very quickly with people like me who are dyslexic because you can spin it out in a language that we can understand, which we can't understand big heavy manuals. We're never going to read it.
No, and it today you must support diverse abilities, learning abilities, and if you don't, that's where you're going to get left behind.
Yeah, yeah. Penny, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Thanks for staying on so long with me. That's brilliant.
It's been a huge pleasure, Wendy. It's been, I love chatting about this, as you know, and it's just been a terrific opportunity. And I'm so, so pleased you've invited me. Thank you.
Oh no, I wanted to have a look at your agent. As soon as I know someone's got an agent, that's it. I'm all over it like a rash. I'm like, oh, what are they up to? How are they using it? How does it support the business? What's the business model? I
Oh,
think it's it.
and just to say, Ask My Wizard, all about the operations manual, is under Linktree as well.
Oh,
So
brilliant.
everything's there, everything.
That's great. Thanks, Penny.